Hello, I'm Captain Andrea.
And this is Commander Matthew.
And welcome to a very special Trekback Tuesday.
This is the series where we travel through time and space to seek out new toys and new Star Trek merchandise to spend all of our credits on. And today we're looking at this enormous item right here.
Commemorating the 30th anniversary of the original Star Trek series is Barbie and Ken.
So this is a very special doll set that Mattel made in 1996 to commemorate that very important milestone for Star Trek.
Yes.
And this is pretty unique.
This took place in the 90s before Barbie really got into doing a lot more licensed products. Because now Barbie and licensed pretty normal. But back then, you didn't see a lot of it.
So this is a real legitimate space oddity, if you will.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes. So let's take a quick look at the packaging now. And this is the front where you can see a very nice big window display. Very impressive. And what's really cool about this is, aside from the fact that you have Barbie and Ken in their original Starfleet uniforms, but you also get cardboard cutouts of Captain Kirk and Spock. So it really looks like they're on the bridge right here.
Absolutely. If you flip it around, you'll see on the back, it's nothing super crazy or exciting, but it does show you a picture of the dolls out of box. It shows the accessories that they come with, tricorders, phasers, and communicators. And down here, it just gives a little brief bio about why they're doing this.
And you'll see on the bottom corner there is the original logo for the 30th anniversary, which they were using for some time. So that's what that looked like. It's really cool seeing that again. Haven't seen that in a long time. And the very top of the box also, again, shows you that it is the 30th anniversary, and it's a collector's edition, because this was actually, to be fair, a big thing in the 90s with Barbies in particular, and toys in general, was everything being a collector's edition.
Yes.
And that's part of why I think Mattel most likely got in on some of this action, because it's a collector's item.
Everything's collectors.
Which certainly drove up prices for this.
Absolutely.
And speaking of prices, you can see over here, we've got the original price tag. It's actually the markdown price tag, but this date here is for 1997, and it was $30.97, which means this actually came out, it was probably like 40 to 50 at retail initially.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about reasonable, which also means that today it would be closer to 80 or 100 or more.
With inflation, yes, but being how this came out back then, and as a collector's item, ultimately meant no one actually bought it. So we didn't even pay that price up there for it, even close to that. We paid less for that.
We were able to get a very reasonable deal for it. Commander Matthew, you may beam them out.
Hi, Captain. So here is the doll set out of the box. We just wanted to show you guys how it looks still attached to the cardboard, because really, as we discovered here, once we take them out, this cardboard cutout of Kirk and Spock are pretty much useless.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not much you can do with them.
No. And so we do want to mention that now you can see a little bit better how the hands of Barbie and Ken are both already holding their accessories, but they're kind of tied together. Unfortunately, being in the box for over 30 years meant that his phaser fell out of his hand, so there it is, finally to see it. But we'll arm him before we talk about him too much further.
If you turn it around, you will see that Barbie and Ken are held in place by one of our favorite items, the twisty ties. So many twisty ties. But they also have a packet over here, which has a 2-year warranty. This is definitely way past that. It also comes with a packet filled with some interesting paperwork.
We'll take a look at that as soon as we get everybody out of this box. So let's go ahead and release them from this twisty tie prison. There are so many twisty ties here.
It's actually not that bad, though, because back then the twisty ties weren't as scary. But like I said, this is around the time when I'm trying to remember when they started sewing her hair in, because nowadays they sew her hair in very differently and it's like attached.
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 twisty ties on my 7 twisty ties on my side. So you probably have 7 on yours as well. There's 14 twisty ties total here.
Yeah, so you have an extra twisty tie because I have the sewn in hair.
Ah, okay. And so now also, as you guys can see, here's what else was in that little container of paper. We have the official certificate of authenticity, because as if everything else wasn't authentic enough, this is how you have to authenticate it with this little piece of paper. We also have this nice postcard here, which is, again, to authenticate that you're the official doll owner. You would fill out the information, mail it to Mattel, and then I guess they'd essentially register you for this doll.
Yes.
It's like early tech support, but for dolls. Can you imagine doing this today with action figures?
There are some places where you can still do little where you can register things. But...
Imagine higher end things, something like this.
No.
We also have a Star Trek fan club flyer, so there you can send that away and join the official Star Trek fan club. And finally, and best of all, a 2-year limited warranty. When is the last time you saw a limited warranty come with an action figure or a doll? I want to make a note too, by the way. I'm just playing with this phaser real quick. And you can see it's got like the little mini twisty tie on it. It actually is like melted onto the plastic. You can see there's little bits of it coming off. I'm literally scraping it away. You could go ahead and you could try it yourself. You can see like it's so melted on that it's literally just coming apart as if it's like wax almost.
Well, I'm doing this. If you could turn this around real quick, just so we can show everybody. Over here, Barbie's hair is sewn into the cardboard. Judging by how it is, it's not going to be as bad as it currently is. Nowadays, the way Barbie does it is they stick something in the back of the skull. So underneath the...
How barbaric.
Yeah. Oh, that's not skull. The head. Like through one of the rooted, through one of the rooted holes. Yeah, they attach it that way. So you have to cut it out, and your Barbie will have like this little bit of plastic sticking out, or unless you shove it in. Here, we should be able to just pull it out by the hair, and it might make it a little messier, but it won't be as bad. I mean, they were dead serious about making sure people didn't steal it.
They really were. And I also just noticed here, hidden on the sides, you can kind of see it. Looks like there's little base pieces, one on each side. So that might be something to attach them to. I think there's a base hiding in here, so we will find out soon enough. So we've been unpacking this slowly but surely because there's a lot of little twisty ties, and they're really annoying to pull out 30 years later. And one of these was actually attached to Ken through his shirt. So you can see from behind, that birch just destroyed the fabric 30 years later. His shirt's never going to be the same again.
Yeah, no, it's not. But
the front will look fine, but if you ever see in the back, you can see it's permanently loosened.
Yeah, but what's also really interesting is
he's got space underwear on.
But he doesn't. That's the weird thing. So I really hope we don't get censored for this. He's got the really nice pants, but I have to pull it. It's underwear, people. It's underwear. Don't get me censored. But he's got plastic around his waist for some reason. There's literally no reason. Unless it's something like to hold up that base that we've been trying to figure out what to do with. There's no reason for this. I'm going to pull his pants up, though, before,
Good idea,
we get
Captain.
flagged.
Good thinking. So while we were unboxing it, we just wanted to show you guys one last look at this display with better look at Captain Kirk and Spock, and again, a much better look at that bridge behind both the dolls.
Which looks fantastic.
That part looks really cool. I'm disappointed that after this point, we're basically going to be throwing this out, most likely.
So while Commander Matthew's working on that, let me show you Barbie. Looking really good. She's modeled after Yeoman Rand. Before we talk about her outfit or anything like that, let's talk about this. Her hair. Not only was her hair sewn into the box, but she then comes with an additional twisty tie, which I have never seen, underneath in her hair in a way that's just bizarre. It is literally in her hair, sticking out. I thought this might have been to help keep the braid in place, but it was tied into the back of the box.
So here's our Ken doll to start with.
Lovely plastic waist thingy.
Yeah, I think that actually might be there to keep the fabric from staining long term. Because that's the thing with fabric and plastic dolls is eventually, if it has a fabric item, it will rub onto the plastic and ruin it. So I think that's probably what it's there for, since it is a collector's item.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the articulation of this Captain Kirk Ken doll. So since it is a doll, it doesn't have a ton of articulation. He does have ball-jointed shoulders, which I always liked as a kid with the Barbies, because at least Ken can do a karate chop. That's all really Kirk needs to do.
He does it better than Kirk himself.
He's got a head that just can go left and right. That's about it. It's a very squeaky head. But you know what they say, the squeaky Ken gets the Barbie.
No, he does not.
He also has, well, he has leg articulation, but these pants really hinder that from moving anywhere. And there are no ball joints, there's no joints in his knees whatsoever, or the feet. Everything else is one solid piece. So very, very limited articulation. Most dolls don't really move much anyway.
No, okay.
Barbie tends to have a little hidden knee joint. The Kens did not.
Yeah, speaking of, here's that little knee.
Hachi machi. Those boots were made for walking.
Actually, I really dig these boots. I like this outfit. I like her outfit a lot. Her hair's a mess and it's coming undone. That was a rubber band that was holding the hair in place. But whatever. But here's a cool thing. Barbie with earrings.
Yeah, those are actually really nice earrings. They basically look like Uhura's earrings.
They really do. I love it. So let's talk hair for a moment.
Are you sure? I think Barbie wants to interview Ken.
Why do you suck?
Ken leaves and lets Barbie take over. As he should.
Exactly. But now I'm going to turn around for real. Barbie and Ken are modeled after Yeoman Rand and Captain Kirk, even though they're Lieutenant Barbie and Commander Ken. Whatevs. But Barbie's hair is really fun. It's not quite the intricate braids that Yeoman Rand had, but you do get a cool braided, a braided ponytail, which I like a lot, except for the part where they didn't quite complete it or follow it through, so it's falling out now. That's what the rubber band was for. It was a good look for Barbie. After I get rid of all of these rubber band pieces,
Good luck digging those out.
They're just falling right out.
Yeah, it's like Barbie's got earwax.
Barbie's hair has earwax.
She got serious dandruff.
That's one way to describe it.
So as for the Barbie and Ken heads, they're very standard for Barbies and Kens, basically.
Yeah.
But when I do say they're standard, I really do mean that. Because if you turn Ken around, you'll see the copyright on his neck. It's from 1991, this Ken head.
Wow. Yours was 91? Barbie has her own little tattoo on the back from 1976.
Wow, so they have not changed that head sculpt for 20 plus years at this point with this doll.
Yeah, looking at the face, they might have changed some of the makeup.
I'm sure they changed the paint, yeah.
But ultimately, no, this is the same Barbie face. I've had this face on so many different dolls.
That is kind of amazing, actually.
That was part of the longevity of Barbie. I mean,
that's really impressive, to be honest. As weird as that might sound, to be like, oh, recycling a part for that many years, but good on them.
Yeah, I mean, Ken has gone through a lot of different, versions, in part because of things like his hair, skin tone, trying to make him look more masculine, trying to make him look more fun, make him look soft, or there are just so many different things that they've been trying to do with Ken in a way that they didn't have to with Barbie. I mean, later on they did change her. They adjusted her body and they did adjust the sculpt some, but yeah, Barbie's been rocking it with the same face for quite a while.
Barbie and Ken both have outfits made of similar fabric here, which is very thick sweater-looking fabric. They will not be cold anytime soon.
Kind of reminds you a little bit of our material.
Well, these are regulation uniforms. Regulation uniforms with footies and thumb holes.
We like thumb holes. They don't have the standard thumb holes, but it does look like this might be regulation Starfleet material.
They're close enough to being accurate. I mean, Ken has his 2 stripes, Barbie has 1. So they both have plastic badges with a sticker on the front to denote what their role is on the ship, which is kind of nice. So there's some nice little nerdy touches for the true Trek fans out there. And I believe both dolls, of course, their clothes are removable. Ken has this little latch here, but again, as you can see from Ken being secured in that box for over 30 years, he's all kinds of messed up. I don't think Barbie's as bad as Ken is.
No, hers open and closed really
Yeah, hers
easy.
looks actually tight.
Trust me, Barbie got way more attention than Ken did.
I'm sure of that.
I love her fishnets, which are fantastic.
I bet, though, 30-something years ago, those fishnets were a lot more form-fitting than they are now. Because you can see they're kind of, like, loose.
They are, but you know what? I like it. You take her shoe off, and you can see she's got the classic Barbie toe.
Is she okay?
No. They're never okay. It's the
Those
worst.
feet look so malformed. I can't tell if that's from years of being there. Just how Barbie
that's
is.
how Barbie is.
Oh my.
Let's see. Articulation. She has.
Barbie needs to see a podiatrist.
Okay, so she does have the shoulder movement. She can her waist. Ooh, that's really loose. So we're not gonna do too much with that. Some Barbies used to be able to crack the arms and have a sort of a hidden elbow, but she does not. She, unlike Ken, has the moving head.
Yeah, she has the ball-jointed head.
Yeah.
Because she's the fashion doll. Ken's he's just there.
And
he's the ride.
Normally, again, we showed it with Ken, but also normally you didn't really see it that much on Barbie, but for everyone out there, she's got some red undies on.
Well, yeah, I think they actually did have those.
They did, but it wasn't. Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is you didn't have a lot of underwear in Barbies.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice that they included that.
So they come with a lot of accessories, surprisingly.
So as per usual with Barbie, Ken gets to stand on his own. Barbie needs help. Check that out. Whee! Why? Because even though her feet are flat, those malformed feet are not allowed to,
Poor feet.
It's so not fair.
Luckily, this set came with not 1 but 2 bases.
Thank goodness for that.
So these were the pieces we were talking about on the side that we saw earlier. And hidden underneath Captain Kirk's chair, we have these little saucer dishes that make up their bases, which are very nice. So this one here is for Commander Ken, and this one is for Lieutenant Barbie. And we also have these little bits here, which will attach into one of these. And this part here looks like it slides down on in here like that. So we're not entirely sure who gets which pieces. I thought that Barbie would get this longer one, but it seems like she actually might get the shorter one.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there, to be honest.
I don't know either, so I feel like we see
we're just going to play around and test them out and see what happens.
as long as they're on the base, that's kind of all that matters to me at this point. I guess it goes like that with Ken.
And Barbie just kind of leaned against it? I don't
That's why it seems weird to me, I don't think Barbie straddles it like that.
I don't don't think so either.
This video just got R-rated.
I have no clue how this base even works. This base doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like to me, Barbie traditionally gets this type of base. So
unless they want her like this, which again, there's literally... This is a base that does not make sense. Barbie doesn't have anything in the back.
Let's try it that way instead. Let's swap bases.
This would make more sense, even though this is in the... Yeah. You gotta adjust it for her.
I mean, again, I don't think Ken's meant to sit in it like this, but he's actually holding pretty good right now.
Yes, he's holding better than expected. Yeah, see, this is just weird.
Yeah.
Are we sure we didn't miss a piece?
No other pieces. This is it.
This is wrong and weird.
I mean, Barbie's makes a little more sense than Ken's does.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that one for Ken is there just as a little buffer in case he falls back.
And so Barbie and Ken have a few other accessories as well.
Mm-hmm.
They each come with, you can have one of these as well.
Thank you.
Come with a very nice little communicator. Very tiny little communicator.
That opens.
Yeah, it actually opens up.
It opens and closes, which is fun.
And most importantly, with the accessories, they usually can't hold them, to be quite honest, but both dolls actually have a little slot on their hands so you can insert it and boom.
For people who are familiar with Barbie and rings, it's the same thing. She can't bring it to her face or anything like that, but
no,
it's there.
Can. And unfortunately, it is extremely loose, though. I think from this many years,
yes.
It just can't hold it. So goodbye, accessory.
I will find you one day, but that's okay because we have more fun accessories.
Yeah, so Barbie gets a tricorder with a strap. Really cheap looking strap. Honestly, this is a pretty cheap accessory.
Absolutely, but it
kind of fits
good.
the 60s Star Trek aesthetic. But yeah, it is kind of goofy. But on the plus side, it does get one thing right, and that's the flip-up console. So just like in the original show, it actually flips up and has another sticker there.
You know, I know that they're really, I just want to make sure nothing else opens. Look, they're cheesy and silly, but I like the look of them. They're fun.
And lastly, we get a phaser for Commander Ken, but there is absolutely no way for him to hold this without the rubber bands. Like, he cannot hold this. There's just
no way.
Nothing. There's no hand is meant to hold that
If
phaser.
only he had a pocket.
Like, he has a thumb here. This might be the only way to get it in, but it is so loose. Like, yeah, you basically do have to like tape it up or something. It looks terrible if you did that.
Yeah, it does. But you know what? 30 years later, you probably put it in his waistband. Where else are you gonna put it?
There you go. I don't think that's how you carry a phaser in the future.
It's not, but when in doubt, you improvise.
You know, these are fashion dolls, so maybe Ken is setting a new trend here.
Exactly.
Well, actually, no, he does have. He does have a little holster. It looks like on the side here. I'm assuming that's what this little tab is for here.
It might just be random fabric, because that's also pretty normal.
Could be. I don't know. I'm gonna just slide that there. That kind of actually is working.
Okay, so let's go with that.
Yeah, we're gonna go with this. This little side bit there is how it's supposed to be held. So I'm gonna put his hands down, so he looks less like a moron. But it's Ken, so,
Yeah. When doesn't Ken look like a moron?
Very true. So our final thoughts on the Barbie and Ken doll here. I don't collect Barbies. You don't either, but you do collect some dolls. I probably would have gotten them as a novelty, but no, actually not really. I wouldn't have paid that price for them back then. The only reason I really got these now is because the price was right. They're very odd and unique, and that's one thing you can say about them, that they are very unique collectibles. But why?
That's a good question. Why? I don't collect Barbies, but I did play with Barbies growing up. When this came out, I had kind of outgrown them, and I didn't really know Star Trek. But I like to keep an eye out on Barbie's development and seeing the different figures over the years and everything. And if I had known these had existed, I don't think I would have bought them, but they would have caught my attention. I would have definitely given them a good look. I would have been like, oh, hey, this is kind of neat. I would have maybe tried to see if there was any news on them, but, this was early internet days, so there probably wasn't a lot out there. I mean, I like it. I think it's interesting. I think they're doing some better stuff now. I like what they did a few years ago with the Uhura, Spock and Kirk, based off of the original series, whether it's the movie version or the actual TV version. It was still those characters as opposed to Barbie and Ken playing those characters. So I think I like what they did now better.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is a really good, fun way to bring girls in. Girls, since Trek was kept alive because of females, I think this is a really good way to include them in a way that they hadn't necessarily been included in before.
So that's our look at the Barbie and Ken Star Trek 30th Anniversary Collector's Set. It has not necessarily aged well, but it's still a very unique collectible. And, we're not saying don't get it, but we're saying get it for the right price if you want something kind of odd to add to your Star Trek collection.
And maybe keep a handy dandy little rubber band nearby so you can fix up the hair.
Or just don't take them out of the box.
Don't take them
Probably the better choice, actually, leave them in the box.
Yeah. And on that note, I'm Captain Andrea.
And I'm Commander Matthew. We'll see you next time for another episode of Trekback Tuesday. And until then, live long and buy toys.